I've been searching for a reason, but my reason's left me for good. Tell me, where do I go from here? Boom, 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 boom. 'Cause I find my situation always leaves me really in doubt. Tell me, where do I go from here? Tell me, where do I go from here?
Right. Which of the following leisure activities do you prefer? A, visit to the cinema. B, go to bingo. C, have a meal out with friends. D, stay at home and watch television. Or E, any other.
Any other?
If E, please specify.
Headley and I, Headley's my husband, we would prefer to go Morris dancing.
No, really.
We belong to the Hornsey Arts and Crafts Association. We go all over the home counties. Only last week we performed at the West Wickham Flower and Vegetable Show.
My word. You know, one of the perks of being a market research interviewer is that occasionally one rubs shoulders with the glamorous world of show business.
Oh. Is that it then?
Just one more question. Where did you spend your last holiday? At home, Europe, or others?
Oh, we always go to the Isle of Man.
God knows what that comes under.
Headley's half Manx, you see.
Half Manx, half human.
Got to go. The children are coming out.
No, just a minute. I need to know your sex and occupation.
Oh, bloody hell!
Is that the sort of language to use in front of a crocodile of mixed ink?
Jim, what are you doing round here today?
I'm working. I'm a market research interviewer. Dixon of DataQuest. Only temporary, of course.
All your jobs are only temporary.
Well, as you know, Joanne, I'm going through a tricky time of life. I'm trying to find myself. This afternoon, I found myself in the streets of Kentish Town. So I thought I'd interview you.
Well, I always find these things such an invasion of privacy. I feel the same way about the census.
Oh, well, it's not one of those mucky ones. It doesn't want to know how many times you and Philip...
What sort of things does it want to know, Jim?
Well, now, for instance, would you rather spend an evening, A, going to the cinema, B, going to bingo...
Oh, good heavens, no.
Just a minute. C, having a meal out with friends. D, stay at home and watch television. Or E, other.
Oh, we hardly ever watch television unless it's the news or Panorama or something anthropological on BBC Two. What were the others?
Well, skipping bingo, unless, of course, David Attenborough was the caller. Flicks, or a meal out with friends.
Oh, we like a meal with friends. But, you know, I'm becoming increasingly less fond of eating out. I mean, most of our favourite haunts are literally being taken over by long-haired pop singers and the like. I mean, even Le Cellier du Midi, which we absolutely adore, is...
Or other.
Oh, yes, I suppose other. Yes.
Good.
Yes, I mean, when the children are in bed, I like to read or do some pottery or perhaps help Philip finish the Telegraph crossword. And, of course, if the weather's nice, one likes nothing better than walking on the heath or perhaps popping into one of those rather interesting little galleries that are springing up in Belsize Park.
I haven't got room for all that, Joanna.
There's some posts for you over there.
Probably some replies to some of those jobs I wrote after.
I think one of them's from the university. I think it's from Margaret.
Oh, God, you're right. There's no mistaking that backward sloping scrawl. A dead giveaway for a neurotic personality. Dear Jim, I was very hurt to hear from a third party that you were back in London. You have your own life to lead. Please don't feel bad at the fact that your silence has made me decide to terminate mine.
Are you still guilty about Margaret's suicide attempt? I never really thought it was very serious. More a bid for attention, really.
Gracious, she's got a research fellowship now. God, Welsh has moved on.
Welsh?
Yes, my ex-boss, head of history. In the resultant reshuffle, Clive has taken over, and I think I should let you know that your old job is now available. Clive?
She must mean Clive Alsop.
Clive Alsop, head of history? I should have stayed on. I'd be dean by now. You know, I bet the only reason he's willing to interview me is to tell me I'm not suitable. When he was editor of that crappy little history magazine, he turned down an article of mine.
You went to the bother of writing an article? Yeah. Whatever was it on?
I remember exactly. The economic influence of the development of shipbuilding techniques, 1450 to 1485. I loved that title. The first sentence began, in considering this strangely neglected topic...
Good God.
I think that's what I've become. Jim Dixon, the strangely neglected topic.
Well, not in Margaret's view. I mean, this thing must be her idea. It's certainly not Clive's.
Yes. I couldn't go back there, Joanna. I feel so guilty, so responsible.
Oh, rubbish. Margaret's overdose was mostly due to a fellow called Catchpole, who rather swept her off her feet and then shot off to Gretna Green with a first-year biology student called Leonora.
Yes, I know.
If I were you, I'd still go up. Out of curiosity.
Yeah. Well, they'd have to pay my train fare and X's, wouldn't they? Maybe even go to bed and board. And if they went to first class, I could go by bus and pocket the difference.
Yes, I mean, if it's an official interview, they have to pay.
Oh. Well, then I owe it to myself.
These hallowed walls, these cobbled walkways and shaded cloisters, this ancient monument to tradition and scholasticism, dating all the way back to 1948. This seat of learning that has produced men of letters, statesmen, and 2 Procter & Gamble area sales managers.
As Dixon strolled in from across the sun-dappled quadrangle, his mind raced back to the foreign landscape of his past. That room there, wasn't that the quarters of Jarvis, the stooped, ancient college porter who greeted each new arrival with the same kindly counsel he'd given to generations of rosy-cheeked freshmen?
If you're sick on the stairs, you can mop it up yourself.
Dinners at the high table. Candlelight casting its mellow glow on the oil paintings which adorned the walls of the great hall. The agreeable murmur of conversation and crystal decanters brimful with double diamond.
No. Good Lord, no. Come in. James! James, how are you? How are you, James?
I'm very well, Clive, very well.
Let me look at you. I hear you've been in foreign climes.
Yes. Well, I thought it was necessary at this time in one's life, Clive, to distance oneself from teaching.
But I understood you were teaching, weren't you? Teaching abroad.
Well, not so much teaching as tutoring. It paid the rent while I was finishing the novel.
Oh, really? Yes, I remember. You always had a literary bent. Didn't you do a little piece for my history magazine?
Did I? I always have a vague recollection. Wasn't it the economic influence of the development of shipbuilding techniques, 1450 to 1485?
So it was.
You turned it down.
Oh, I'm sure that was due to a simple lack of column inches.
Yes. Strange. I've always considered it a strangely neglected topic.
Well, Jim, you both know why you're here. You've expressed an interest in your old post. Although I suppose if you're about to be lionized as a literary figure, you might find us all rather provincial.
Yes, I suppose there is a danger of that, Clive, though there are certain ties that bind one to academia.
Being broke, for one.
Clive, I finished the Parkinson paper. Jim.
Margaret.
Long time no see for you. Peel.
It slipped my mind you were coming up. I'm terribly sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
It's all right. Well, perhaps later we can...
If you're not rushing off.
No, do you still go to the Lamb and Flag?
Oh, I can do.
Can do, yes. Well, in the snog at 6?
Fine. Sorry, Clive.
Not at all, Margaret. She's looking frightfully well, Margaret, don't you think?
Yes, a little more robust than when I left.
Better than no bust at all.
When you left here, she went into a bit of a shell. I think she missed your friendship. Anyhow, where were we?
Wondering whether I could fit in.
Yes. It can be a bit of a problem for a chap who's broadened his horizons. It was the same with your predecessor. He flipped his marbles. You see, he found it awfully hard to adapt to my way of thinking. Even with my encouragement, he found it difficult not to...
Stop himself from shoving that pipe down your gormless gullet.
So, how did you two leave it?
Well, pretty open-ended, really.
I'm sure he'd be happier with you, the devil he knows. The point is, what do you want, Jim?
I've never been able to answer that question since I was 11.
Must be strange being back here. What is it, a sort of recherche de temps perdu?
Yes, it probably is. If I knew what it meant.
Remembrance of things past.
Ah, yes. Well, same again, gin and bit of...
Don't you have a train to catch?
Well, I can catch the 10:20. We could go and have a bite to eat if you're not...
Oh, no, I'm not.
You're not. Is that little bistro still there, the Moulin Rouge?
Yes. It means the Red Mill.
Yes, yes. We used to go there quite often before.
Before?
Before we stopped going there. Same again, please, miss.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Well. Well. You do look well, Margaret.
Do I?
Yes.
It's wonderful what a bit of blush on can do.
Oh, come on now. You look fine, fine. I've never seen you look better.
Of course, you didn't see me then. Jim, I'd like to talk about it. It would exorcise a lot of ghosts from the past.
Yes, fine. Fine, look, I'll just get the drinks.
I don't believe in euphemisms. What we're talking about here is my attempted suicide.
4 and 3, please, sir.
Yes. Have one yourself. Should I ring the Moulin Rouge and book a
Just
table?
before
or...
I went under, I suddenly stopped caring.
Keep the change.
I've been clutching the bottle of pills like grim death, as if I was holding on to life in a way. But quite soon, I didn't in the least mind going. I felt it didn't matter all that much.
Well, of course it mattered, Margaret. Of course it mattered. Well, thank goodness that chap came up from the flat below and was able to get you to the hospital in time.
I suppose so.
As I heard it at the time, didn't he come up to complain because you'd left the record player on full blast? Oh. What a bit of luck.
I didn't realise you'd heard about it at the time.
Well, the thing is, I'd just gone to Holland...
Jim!
Margaret.
While I was in hospital, I was awfully grateful for your tact.
Oh, I didn't know I'd been that tactful.
You were the only one who realised that I might prefer not to be bombarded with kind inquiries.
Game, set, and match to Miss Peel.
Try this, Jim. See what you think. I was a bit disappointed.
Make yourself useful, Jim. Lay the table.
Well, it's very good of you to have me over, Joanna.
Oh, it's only moussaka and salad.
Well, I don't want to put you out.
No, we were going to spend our usual evening curled up in front of the box. Don't want to miss the man from Uncle, do we, darling?
Well, you see, I wanted to talk about this college situation.
Joanna tells me you saw Margaret.
Yes, well, Margaret's the point, isn't she? She sort of goes with the job.
Bit thin, don't you think?
Yes, but I wouldn't hold that against her.
No, I meant the wine.
Now, do pay attention, Philip.
Well, I'm sorry. I didn't know I wasn't.
So there is a job, then, is there, Jim? What?
Apparently, it's there for the asking.
How was it, seeing her again? Were old flames rekindled?
Not at first, no.
What do you mean, not at first?
Well, I mean they were after a while. Well, I had to take her for a drink, didn't I? And one thing led to another, and so I took her to this little bistro we all used to go to.
Oh, the Moulin Rouge. Did you know?
Shut up, Philip. And?
What? Oh, and, well, I missed the 10:20, you see. Well, it wasn't my fault. Not entirely. They took an hour to produce the poulet chasseur, which left me with the option of getting to the station in 10 minutes or buying her a brandy. It seemed a bit churlish not to opt for the latter.
So you stayed overnight, then?
Oh, well, the station hotel was always very decent.
He didn't stay at a hotel. He stayed with Margaret. Didn't you, Jim?
I can't deny it, Joanna. Guilty. But you know what it's like when you've had a couple of brandies. You know what it's like. Not to mention a couple of bottles of Chateauneuf de Pape.
With poulet chasseur?
Oh, Philip, for God's sake, he's not an inspector with Egon Rone. He's talking about his night with Margaret.
Oh, I see. You mean you... Oh! Oh, well, that puts a very, very different complexion on things.
Yes. I mean, even if you'd wanted to rekindle old flames, you couldn't have gone about it better.
Yes, I know. And with Margaret, it had to be so significant. Oh, why can't she be like all these London girls I read about? Why can't she settle for an empty, meaningless relationship?
How do you know she hasn't?
Because she keeps phoning me incessantly. Well, I've never been in. And today, a telegram containing the words a man most dreads to hear from a woman. I must talk to you.
She can't be pregnant already.
No, of course not. But she's coming down to see me now. You must admit that's ominous. Oh, I'm filled with a dreadful sense of foreboding.
Oh, come on, Jim. I mean, it might not be all that ominous.
Yes, perhaps she's simply contemplating another suicide attempt.
Right. Thank you very much, Mrs. Banyard.
Good afternoon.
Yes?
Good morning, sir. I'm from a market research firm called Data Quest. We're doing a survey. Do you have a moment?
All right.
Thank you.
This way. I have to get to the office, so if we can be quick.
Oh, absolutely, sir.
And I won't give you a moment. Help yourself to coffee.
Oh, thank you.
My word. In the socio-economic classification, we can tick him off as an AB. Age group, 34-45. Income, well above adequate. Oh, yes, this is your classic bachelor apartment, your stag pad. I bet his bedroom has a stereo, concealed lighting, and a circular bed with bucket seats. Probably a whiz kid in one of the newer professions, public relations or advertising. Maybe a record producer. No, his hair wasn't long enough.
Hello, what's all this about?
Oh,
Thank you.
well, we're doing a survey on British leisure habits, sir.
Really?
Yes. It won't take long. I've already filled in half the questions, because I can tell what sort of person you are.
Oh. Can you?
Yes. Well, you see, after 160 of these questionnaires, you become quite a shrewd judge of character.
And what would you say I did then?
Well, I can't guarantee what you do, but I can guarantee what you don't do. Now, You don't go to bingo. And you don't go potholing in the Peak District. No. And when it comes to holidays, I should think it's more Barbados than Bognor. Eh?
Jamaica.
Well, I was close, you have to admit.
Are you sure you need me?
Not really. If you just give me a name and occupation, I can fill in the rest and you can get to the office.
You don't seem to take this job very seriously.
Well, to be frank, it's a bit of a filler. You see, I'm a university graduate. I mean, can you imagine anybody doing this rubbish for the rest of their life? But it's the only thing that stands between me and the poorhouse.
Well, let's get on with it then, shall we, Mr.
Dixon. Jim Dixon.
My name's Nigel Thorpe. And there's an E in Thorpe.
Oh, yes.
My occupation is company director.
AB. I was right.
Of a market research company called Data Quest. You're fired, Mr. Dixon.
God, what am I doing? Why am I going out of my way to create pretenses to impress Margaret? Why have I spent my last 26 shillings on flowers and a bottle of overpriced sherry? Why have I replaced my collected works of James Bond with philosophical textbooks stolen from the Chelsea Public Library? Hello?
Jim?
Margaret? Come up. The front door's open. 4th floor. Oh, God, look at the state of this place. She'll know I haven't cracked London. She'll know I'm not in with the in crowd. I don't have a mini moke in the garage or William Morris wallpaper in the bog. Or Cinzano Bianco in the fridge. I don't have a fridge. Perhaps I should just succumb to the familiar textures of university life, to the smell of chalk and dust and dog-eared textbooks and dog-eared colleagues. And Margaret. Margaret? I'm not going to apologize for what happened the other night. I wanted you, and I took you. I didn't force you. It takes two to tango, Margaret. It takes several more people to do the dashing white sergeant. But that is neither here nor there. Now, what we are talking about is a night of casual sex. Now, don't flinch at the word. It was sex. We were satisfying our carnal feelings. We were writhing in the grip of uncontrollable lust. Margaret.
My word, what a climate.
My word, what a nice outfit.
Oh, do you really think so? I wasn't sure I could wear green.
Oh, yes, green suits you. It goes with your, It suits you.
Clive's with me.
Clive?
Yes, he's gone to look for an off-licence. Thought we might have a bottle of wine.
What's Clive doing here?
Oh, several of us came down for the weekend for a seminar at Croydon. Studies in ethnomethodology.
Heavens, what a lark.
I'm in the chair myself for one. Formulations as conversational objects. It's rather nerve-wracking.
Yes. So you didn't come down especially to, to see me, as it were. The seminar was always on the cards, was it?
Yes.
Ah.
And no. I mean, I did especially want to take this chance to see you and, clarify things.
Yes. Will Clive be long?
He's basically keeping out of the way for a few minutes while we...
Clarify things.
This is rather difficult for me, James.
James? Why is she calling me James? It's Jim. It's always Jim. James? It's worse than I thought.
Would you like a sherry, Margaret?
Yes, I would rather.
Yes, good. Me too.
Rather Spartan, your flat.
What? Yes, well, I've not had much of a chance to do anything to it, and as I'm not sure I'm staying in London or what.
Clive is quite keen that you should join his department.
Yes, so I gather.
And I think it would be a splendid opportunity.
Yes.
But life might get a little complicated in the light of...
In the light of what, Margaret?
Jim.
Margaret.
You and I have known each other for an awfully long time, and I've always felt something implicit in our relationship. And the other night...
You feel old fires may have been rekindled.
Exactly.
Look, I'm sorry, Margaret, I really am.
You have nothing to be sorry about, nothing to be ashamed of. It's me. I've rekindled the spark of whatever infatuation you had for me. And I had no right. I belong to another.
What?
Yes. I'm involved with someone else.
You're involved with someone else?
It was so willful of me to lead you on, to make you expect.
Oh, no, Margaret, please, don't.
I've hurt you terribly.
Que sera, sera, Margaret. Would you like a hanky?
I'd like to use the bathroom.
Yes, it's on the landing. It's that door there. She's involved with another. Oh, how could she? The rope or slash the wrists. No, the window. Yes. Might make the Evening Standard early edition. Earl's Court man on ledge drama. Yes, should be quite a crowd by 4. Fire brigade, press, clergy, my landlord, television. News at 10 and young Reggie Bosanquet. Dan 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 boom 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 dan 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 bong. In a classic case of unrequited love, Jim Dixon this afternoon took his life. Bong. Ignoring the appeals of friends, family, clergy and fans, he committed the last desperate act, and Britain has lost a shining talent. Bong! In a handwritten note found in his room, Dixon said he would have liked to have used gas, but hadn't got a shilling for the meter. Bong! Good evening.
Hello.
Oh, Clive, come in.
The front door was open, so I just came on up.
Yes.
Bit of a climb.
What's this, Clive? Champagne?
Well, I thought, not often in the big city.
Couldn't be more opportune, mon brave.
Where's Margaret?
But, she's, powdering her nose. Oh, should I, do the honours?
Yes, of course.
Yes.
Did you and Margaret, have you had a chance to,
Yes?
Well, are we drowning our sorrows, or what?
Drowning our sorrows? My dear Clive, this is a celebration of the highest order. Yes, I now know what it feels like to be on death row and be granted a last-minute reprieve.
Reprieve?
Yes. Miss Peel is involved with another. Now, come on, Clive, you know what's going on. Who is the mad bugger?
It's me, Dixon.